Uh, Welcome everyone, and thank you for joining us today. So this is the third of the member-led sessions that we have. So we've had three, and this is the third one. Uh, the topic is from rhetoric to reality, operationalizing locally led risk informed resilience. So, what we are looking at in this session is that this session presents practical tools to operationalize risk informed resilience in fragile and conflict affected contexts. It explores simple risk analysis methods, community based early warning systems, and anticipatory action approaches while strengthening participation, accountability, fair resource allocation, shared decision making authority, and equitable collaboration between local actors, peers, INGOs, and donors. And we have a very esteemed panel of speakers today. Welcome, Rajeev. Thank you for joining us. Let me begin by introducing our moderator, Dr. Johanes Belle. Dr. Belle, Professor Johanes Belle holds a PhD in environmental management with a focus on the nexus between environment, disaster risk reduction, and climate change adaptation. He has a master's degree in disaster management, advanced university diploma in disaster management, BA honors in geography, BEd diploma in marketing, and many other qualifications. Professor Bell has worked for 37 years in three different countries in Africa, that is Cameroon, Lesotho, and South Africa. He is currently employed as an associate professor and was the director at the Disaster Management Training and Education Center for Africa of the University of Free State from January 2019 to February 2022. Professor Bell is an experienced disaster management professional and an environmentalist with special interest on ecosystem-based disaster risk reduction and climate change adaptation for systems and community. Resilience under the broader scope of nature-based solutions. He has extensive management and administrative experience as well as lots of international exposure. He has published many articles in international peer-reviewed journals and has presented at many international and national conferences. Professor Bell has also graduated many master's and PhD students. He is a reviewer of many journals. He was awarded the top 5% scholars in the world in 2024 by the Scholar GPS from the USA. Professor Bell has a long serving counselor and board member of Disaster Management Institute of South Africa and the Free State Regional Chairperson from 2013 to 2020. He holds a disaster management professional designation in DMISA and affiliated member of many academic and research professional bodies. Professor Bell is a board member at the national focal point of GNDR for South Africa. Professor Bell speaks two international languages, that is English and French. And now I would like to hand over to Professor Bell. He would run the speakers through the time that you have for speaking, as well as introduce the speakers and take the session forward. Thank you. Over to you, Professor Bell.
Thank you so much, Efsita, for that mouthful introduction. Our colleagues of the noble profession in disaster risk reduction, you are all welcome to this session. Where disasters are increasing in intensity and magnitude, it is very, very important for us to remark that the most affected are the most vulnerable people. And GNDR and yourselves are the voice of the voiceless. And therefore, we need to put action, back our wordings with actions. So the local involvement, the inclusivity, and leaving no one behind should be our motto in driving this resilience agenda for the local community. So risk informs resilience is very, very important for the work we do. And therefore, this afternoon, we'll be diving so much on how we are going to carry out or operationalize our risk-informed development using the local context, making sure that all our stakeholders are involved. So as I will introduce two important panel speakers, very, very knowledgeable in this particular sphere. But what we are going to do is I will uh, advise or enjoin you to actually write down your questions. Let's listen to them carefully so that at the end of it, we are going to ask our questions. Listen to the two speakers. At the end, we are going to ask questions. We'll have 10 minutes for that. So we'll take questions, a first set of questions from the first speaker and another set of questions from the second speaker so that we'll spread them out evenly. And time willing, and maybe we'll take another round of questions and then carry on in that way. So without wasting much time, the speakers will have 12 minutes to present, to carry out their presentation. And I will ask you to actually listen carefully so that we can learn from this and share experiences. So without wasting much time, I would like to read the biography of our first presenter this afternoon, who is no other than Mr. Rajeev Jha. Rajeev Jha is a development professional with over 18 years of experience in South Asia, specializing in disaster risk reduction, climate change adaptation, and community-based resilience building. As the director of DRR and CCA at Humanitarian Aid International, he leads initiatives to strengthen risk governance and climate-informed development planning. He authored the Chart of Right for Frontline and Community Workers, endorsed by over 100 organizations. Committed to localization and community leadership, Rajeev collaborates with grassroots institutions and local government to promote sustainable, resilient pathways, food security, and climate justice. So, without wasting much time, I will pass over to Raja to give us the presentation this afternoon so that at the end of it, like I mentioned, we are going to put down our question on the chat box and some of them, we'll select some of them and see how we run. Are you able to share your presentation, Raja?
Yeah, I mean, where to, how to,
So at
is
the
there any,
bottom menu where you unmuted yourself, there is one computer screen with a red line. You can click on that, or I can share for you, whichever is convenient.
there is a device setting, there is a open share menu.
Yes, open share menu.
Yeah, let me- it is not coming out. Let
Okay,
me,
let me
oh,
try. Let me do that.
Okay, I think I can see it from my side.
yeah, okay, thank you. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
And thank you people for having this wonderful discussion today. The key topic is rhetoric to reality, and I will speak from my experience. And I have tried to combine my personal understanding of how this locally led risk informed resilience works from the level of the region where I belong to, and as well as from the global perspective of the policy and the practice. So if you keep, moving forward, the slides would be better. Yeah, thank you. Just for some numbers, you see that how it is coming out. Just recently, it is more than 300 billion annual global disaster losses happening by recent report of UNDR is comparing to 2024-25. And if you see the grand bargain debate, it is the localization funding is 0.06% to 3%. There's a debate upon it. And if you see the local context of country where I belong to, India, it is more than 80% geography is vulnerable to hazards. I try to mix it up between the perception I have and the global audience. and the global perception. And you see the local disaster losses growth versus GDP since 90, it would be around 2x straight away, maybe later, maybe bigger. So the fact is that we have all the theories in reality. We have Sendai framework, we have Green Bargain, we have IPCC ARC, you have the SDGs 11 and 13 talking about, and we have the stated commitment also. That is strengthening disaster response governance, 25% of humanitarian funding, adaptation, district management, inclusive cities, but the fact is that there is a gap in terms of rhetorics and the reality. If you see these locally led resilience, risk informed development, targets are widely missed. Adaptation deficits grow faster in most of the communities, and as of now, it is more than 300 billion per year in developing countries on model based calculation as based off the UNF report. And you have the last mile communities remain invisible in most of the national plans. So, next slide, if you can. Yeah. So that leads to what it looks like, locally led actually looks like. If you see the current states, it is basically plans written by consultants and delivered to communities. Fact is that it should not be the case. Data has been extracted from the community, but the data leaves the village, and the community people are being trained but not resourced. So that's the current stage, and where it should be. We are missing the community owned updates. It should be the committee should be meet quarterly. Women marginalized group should have the whole leadership. Local data needs and the local dashboards, which is the missing link. So the current and the transition path you can have it, and the locally led state we have looks like. To my understanding, there's very quite a broad understanding of local led resilience and what it is to be done at the different levels, and you can have the context at different regions and the communities level. Next slide, please. You can, Chita. So, what are the issues we have? Especially if you see that local-led governance or the risk-informed resilience, we have the issue that the local governance and the community ownership. We should have the community risk registers. We should have the planning integration with the DRR and the local development plans. We should have the participation to the leadership. Generally, we have the community level participation, but not the leadership. And the locally village development plan should have that approval from the village council at the different regions, which is sometimes happens, sometimes may not happen. So what I'm trying to understand is that what we say at the policy level, at the theory level, and what actually happens on ground down in the reality level, there are two different things, and they are the issue that affects the governance level and the community level. Next slide. Uh, yeah. So what else? What helps that is that helps is the financing architecture. It is the one thing if you see the last mile sort of gap. If you see the last International Climate Fund, basically the GCCF adaptation fund and all that, they don't allow you the local communities to directly participate. They have the institutionalized funding mechanism go through nation states, and they have the top to bottom access to the community. And most of the local communities, civil society organizations are unable to tap it on, and not because they don't want to, but because of the capacity constraints, compliance constraint, uh, financial management constraint. So that goes to already very unable to do that, and that leads to community household at a very very small level of resource at their level, and they are the one who are the highest level of facing the risk. So you have the resources, that is reality, that is important, but rhetorics that but you have the communities where resources has to be there, they are missing probably the amount of resources they should come through. Their direct participation is still missing, and most of the international fundings and national fundings are highly go through the international or institutionalized routes, their own mechanism, and that leads to parallel development, or maybe unable communities are unable to find out. Next slide, please, Apsita. Yeah. We also miss the data technology and early warning in terms of rhetorics. Just for example, anticipatory action triggers are very, very important. Like normalized difference vegetation index, soil moisture, river gauge, satellite rainfall, accessible data are also sometimes missing. We have got some very good examples by, let's say, by WFP. They are doing on the parametric or index-based insurance, where based on the anticipatory triggers mechanism, they provide the cash forward to or the in-hand cash to the communities. Those kind of issues are need to be incorporated at the local level, risk-informed resilience, which is, I mean, yet to be globally accepted. It is still a institution-led or a policy-led by one or two organizations. And we also do not have the citizens generated and indigenous data, which is again an important one to find out, because one thing is knowledge, another is to how do you extract those knowledge in terms of decision making. That's a gap, and we often it always lost in the stories and some romantic ideas about indigenous knowledge and indigenous mechanism, but doesn't transform at the scale where community-led response, risk-informed decision making has to happen. So you may have it in different models or different interventions, but you may not have that scale to implicate that. Uh, Next slide, please. Yeah. You also have the issue of gender and social inclusion. There is need not to tell much about, because you all know that how this inclusivity is being detrimental at the local level or the community level. A lot of things are mandatory but not optionals, like women, girls, vulnerable communities, tribal households, all that. And open groups, resilience, work resilient infrastructure. Problem is that at the community level, you may not have seen that often the community means men with a megaphone, not exactly a woman with a megaphone. So planning and all that happen with the stereotype, and which exclude the vulnerable community, which are most at the risk. These are the common issues we see at the resilience risk informed planning. Next one, yeah. And if you see that who bears the burden, intersecting the vulnerabilities, if you see that I have just given the one pie chart sort of text, not exactly because I'm very on record, but on the way how it looks like at maximum resilience. This has goes from the women and girls, the urban and poor migrants, the vulnerable communities, and respectively, women, people, vulnerable communities, urban and poor migrants, person with disabilities face a different kind of challenges, especially in terms of the area of localization and risk-informed resilience and decision making. So these are the common issues we deal with. If you go into the details of, there will be a lot of examples at the ground level. You will find out, and you will see that how it has been happened, despite our continuous effort at the national level or the subnational level or at the local level. If you see that recently, Disaster Management Act uh, here in India, Delhi, is really amended. It also incorporated the village disaster management plan at the local level, and also ensured that at the province level or beyond the province level, district level or the village level, committees and the fund has to be allocated. But it's still to be seen what is going to happen in the next few years, because this has happened. And next slide, please, if you can, Chita. Yeah. So what do you think that what are the entry points we have? What each actors does need to do differently? I mean, these are the one thing we always discuss about what governments need to do, what we need to do as NGO society and donors and researchers. One thing is that we need to reform the guidelines, mandate community co-leadership. We also need to, at the government level, ring fencing the DRR budgets at the level at least minimum 2% of annual plan. Sort of also we need to agree the pre-agreed anticipatory action budgets, which is often missing. And from the NGO level, we should have the shift from implementing to capacity building mode, which is again issue. We often went to goes to the project management mode, and we end up implementing the project nicely. But the thing is that the it also takes you to half build capacity to the community. That's true. That's proven. Transferring of skill is another challenge. We often, because of the lack of capacity building or lack of inability to transfer the skills, because transferring a skill does not depend on the one time of training and capacity building. It requires continuous investment, so that your skill should be sharpened enough to catch the fish. So that probably the miss. We have to co-design the risk registers. We not just to only extract data, but we will have to ensure that how we are seeing the risk and has to be co-adopted. Long-term investment is required, and for donor side, direct 25% funding is long-term commitment of the grand bargain. If you look at it, what they need to do, this is a very mirage in any way. And supporting the direct access by passing national intermediaries, and fund community data platforms. Indigenous knowledge is to be there are so many points can be covered here, but I wanted to give a couple of things to have a debate and discussions within the short span of time we have. And just for viewers, for us, I just wanted to have that some of the simple risk analysis methods, what can be applied at the qualitative and the semi quantitative level, at the community level, that leads to better decision making, better anticipatory actions, which is one of the important area of our today's discussions. Like developing a risk matrix on the high, low, medium, and high, uh, on based on the local available informations and analysis, that these can be done, which often I don't see at the risk resilience or risk informed decision making at the level. We are generally a plan driven, but not those analysis driven. We can also have the SWOT analysis. It's a very easy one: strength, weakness, opportunities, threats. We can do that. We can also have the failure mode and effect analysis. What is failure mode in terms of what happens when the EWS fails, or funding delayed, or no community planning, and what should be the severity and probability of that? And we can have that risk priority numbers we can calculate, and we can have that sort of village level better planning can happen, and when we can based on that ensure that our planning is good enough. Next one, please. And so on similar basis,
Above.
yeah, I'm just finishing off. On similar basis, you can have that. You can also bring the expected value, sensitivity analysis, and both analysis like cause, hazard, and consequences. So all these things you can give you a better doing all these things, better risk informed analysis and decision making process to at the community level, which needs to be combined in the context and the reason and the geography. And if you bring that and into as a dashboard form, it will be very, very good decision making tools for all the people, those who are working at the community level, definitely, because I have been working into it and we have tasted it. So from this, I'm putting it my final thought, and hopefully I've tried to cover some couple of points for the presentation. Hopefully I'll have some value into it. My last thought would be, if you can just Chita, give me the last slide. Yeah. So what I say is that it is not a project. Resilience is not a project, but not a framework, and it is not a workshop. But what happens when a community has the knowledge, the resources, and the power to protect itself before, during, and after the disaster? So I leave it from here for the discussions and the audience, and I expect others to join in. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Rajeev. Thank you. I know there is a lot that you want to share here, but because of time factor, I will encourage our participants to engage you if they have specific clarity and whatever, to make sure that they digest all what you have said here. But I think there are key issues there that you have mentioned that we should really look at. Training without resources, I think, is quite not empowering enough. And the change from participation to leadership, I think the localization must go that route. And you also mentioned the last mile early warning systems, as well as early action and anticipatory action that should really empower the people. And gender issues should be taken into consideration seriously. And I think another takeaway is the use of indigenous knowledge, because if we're talking of localization here, these people are equipped with a lot of knowledge that we really need to tap into and integrate that into our planning. So, ladies and gentlemen, because of time, we will go to the next speaker immediately. But like I mentioned, please, if you have any burning issue, if we cannot touch it during the Q&A session, please engage our esteemed speakers. So without wasting time, I will dash straight to our second speaker, and it's no other person but Kamlesh. I hope I'm pronouncing it well. Damdoo.
Yes, sir.
So
Yeah,
I
of
would like
course.
to read, thank you very much, Kamlesh. I would like to read his biography, a short one. Um, Kamlesh R. Damdoo is an accomplished academician currently serving as an assistant professor at the UV Patel College of Engineering, Ganpat University. With over 8 years of dedicated teaching experience, he has cultivated a deep expertise in civil engineering, contributing to the field through 8 research publications spanning diverse technical themes. Driven by a commitment to sustainability, he is currently pursuing a PhD, permanent head damage. Good luck.
Yeah.
Focus on the circular economy in construction, specifically developing circularity scoring systems for smart city infrastructure. A proactive member of several professional organizations, he has been an active contributor to the global network of civil society organizations for disaster risk reduction, GNDR, since 2018. He works seamlessly bridges, he works seamlessly bridges Industry 5.0 paradigm with resilient human-centric engineering solutions. Over to you, Kamlesh. Let's hear your thought on this burning issue. Over to you.
Okay, I am sharing my screen. Visible, yeah. I hope it is visible.
Yes, we can see the presentation.
Okay. So the topic is real to reality, organization, local rate, risk informed resilience. Okay. My basic understanding will be more oriented to informative and research work related. When someone is interested in research and informative, he will really enjoy this presentation. So actually, let's understanding what is real theory to reality. When we say that we have vision, we have a lot of vision. When we start, we are a very large and large vision. Is Oppo is available? I'm asking. I'm hearing some Oppo.
I think from your side, if you could maybe move the mic a little closer.
Okay, let me tackle this. Now, am I audible?
Yeah, better. Thank
Okay,
you.
fine. Okay. This no, listen. This is a small step where you can understand how you can manage the risk. Okay. This is a live example. Okay. I had connected with my laptop, even with my mobile also, because suppose there is any interruption, so I can manage, and I need not to manage much more things. So it is very simple. We just want to click, and I can manage a lot of things. Okay, so this is how you can make something your vision must be very clear. But when we are applying to reality, because we are having lots of issues, problems, we have to deal with people, money, resources. Okay, and we can have some different reality. Okay, and that is rhetoric to reality. Okay, and what is the talk, what is the promised, and actually what we achieved at land. Okay, this is a simple example. Of course, we are at a very graduate and understanding level. Suppose a person just want to aim at that, he just want to have a good health, so he will have a plan like he will have morning walk, he will take good running. Okay, he will take good diet. Okay, he will start morning exercise from tomorrow. But on the next day he found that it is raining. Okay, now his headache is okay, so he cannot wake up early. Okay, so he cannot prepare his meal. Okay, so he will eat something that is not prepared. Now here the thing is not that he don't want, intentionally don't want to, because whenever say community led, people mostly reflect that people are not ready, or the readiness impact is not ready. It is not like that somewhere, and other factors dominate more than your willingness. We will see it across. Okay, and when we see disaster, when it comes to rhetoric to reality in disaster, we everyone says that even in parts of India and in many countries, you will see that many things on record. It is 100% electricity, 100% resilience rate. Like in Singapore, if you see, they claim that we are having 100% people that can survive the nuclear war. Okay, okay? But when the thing will happen, we will get to know. So it is not like that. It's okay. So rather it is just on paper, on record. But when it's reality, let we will understand. So understanding what is resilience. Okay, resilience is something like that. We will have some problem when we are building a very huge infrastructure, and that is interconnected with the physical and digital and everything in social intention. With time there will be some issues. Okay, now how fast you can resolve that issues and come back to the running condition, that is your resilience infrastructure. Okay, now again, during resilience we are not mean that system will not fail. System will fail because the risk is uncertain, and when something is uncertain you can just control it. Okay, but thing will happen. Okay, so we are designing a infrastructure in such a way that even if it is fail, we are planned in such a way that how quickly we can jump back to its running condition. So that is the resilience infrastructure. Okay, and when it comes to the low operationalizing, because what actually we need to do with the local community. Okay, so plan locally, protect truly. If I give you very good example, you may be known that world's tallest statue is Statue of Unity, that is Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel in India currently. Okay, during the construction, the material, okay, for the Statue of Unity was collected locally. People donated that material, and to build that entire huge structure, you may not believe that 40% of the material is just donated. It is just collected with the local Narmada people. Okay, just they just donated it, and the entire huge structure was closed. Because somewhere during when we call out resilience, we need to prepare for resource also, and resource is limited. That is the most issue right now we are facing. I'm giving an example that is not regarding from war side. Actually, what Ukraine has done, they had an state-owned mega plant. Okay, the completely the state is having a mega power plant. So if there is any failure, okay, during the part there was a failure. Okay, the entire state get destroyed. The best way to solve it, to have locally. What is our main focus is to make it locally. Okay, now recently in just 2025, that passed in law number 9381, that rather than having a state-owned power plant, localize it. Okay, and if you see Gujarat or India, uh, right now we are having a news that that must be very proud feel, that on plan of shortage of the fuel or gas, okay, on both, okay, we had converted 3900 biogas, local biogas, into an operational fuel, that in recent, in just 1 month. That is not a pre-planned, but when we see the condition, we just plan that how can we quickly react to the fuel alternative. And 3900 Gujarat locals biogas is converted into biogas fuel, and it is feeding the Gujarat citizens. So okay, so we are having a very good understanding. Okay, because ultimately when it is operationalization, your people must be smarter. Okay, otherwise you cannot deal, you cannot have and completely put everything, and if people are not ready to accept it. Okay, so what is just focus is on this decentralized decision making. Let the local authority take the decision, let have them equal rights, flexibility, and financial assistance, giving them financial assistance. Okay, NGOs, and we have many much thing, knowledge cooperation. Okay, even in Ganpati University we are having knowledge cooperation. We move to the villages areas, we share them knowledge how to have conversations over the rainwater, over the farming, agriculture, productivity, everything. Okay, now what's mean accountability? Accountability means when some, when people are doing something, it must be reflected, because without giving somehow power, you cannot do it fair. Okay, people will not means I am doing a lot, but I am not great credited, means somewhere it must be credited. It's a big issue that we must understand. And an adaptive learning, because resilience is alternative. What problem you are currently facing right now maybe or may not be repeated next time. Okay, this is a very small example that I have taken. Okay, there is one problem that the village. If you see that there is a small village right below there. Okay, there was planned that the villages was having much more, many more times fire. Okay, so what the rhetoric authority has done, they had sent trucks, okay, and dedicated fire vehicles. Okay, on paper it was good, but when it comes to practicality, it was seen that the trucks and this fire station was not able to and even enter the village during the problem. So what did the local people do? They just converted these solutions to the fire extinguisher. Okay, they distributed the extinguisher over the entire village. Okay, and they had taught them how to deal with this fire station. And you don't believe it, on the next from the on that record, no fire has been taken place in this village. Okay, so this is how you, when you plan on a big scale, okay, and when it comes to operations, okay, and local operations, okay, so things will change and we need to accept that also. Okay. Again, taking some international examples, Australian, okay, they instead of, they were having problems of flooding. Okay, so again, instead of bearing a big dam, they just managed in people. Okay, they had local on satellites, power station, power pump, and rescue boats. So even if the flood occurs, they can rescue. They can have a rescue plan. Okay, so this is a local effort. Okay, and they did it well. Okay, they enjoyed it. Secondly, there is a study of Canada. Okay, they want to stop the fire in the village. Okay, in village area. That was in very big village area. Now the fire authority was not. It took very long time to reach to the fire. Okay, to reach to the forest and to have some actions. Instead, what they did is they just managed the local people. They taught them drone training. They give them drone training
that how to manage this fire. Okay, how can you can provide with the right data. Okay, how you can connect with the water and other resources, and how can you manage this fire. And they did it excellently. This is just a case of last year. They did it excellently. Okay. Now, of course, as per the topic, I had some more discussion on the risk analysis. This is something hazard, exposure, and vulnerability. If you see, we are having metrics, okay, calculations. Since I am on research side, I could take a very long lecture, like, yeah, 1 or 2 hours, but I'm just closing it very shortly that risk is completely unpredictable. Okay, whatever we say is hazard, exposure, and vulnerability. It is just on paper or like rhetoric, but when it comes to reality, it is completely unpredicted. Okay, okay. So I'm just taking this very example. Okay, there is a bridge. Okay, there is a bridge as shown in figure, and it is connecting with the village, and there is only one connection for the supply chain or food chain management. Now the issue is, I've just taken some example. The issue is that
If you can run up, we're running out of time,
just
please.
just 2 minutes, just finish it. Okay, so we are
Thank you.
having, yeah, we are taking just example that how you can calculate the risk whether you should do it or not. Okay, so I had taken some data that they are just a budget of 5,000. Okay, but the annual loss is 8,000. That is much more than their is budget. So how to calculate that risk? Okay, that manage that 8,000 is our risk, but our but what we need is just 5,000. We are just 5,000. So there is a cost optimizations when we do a thing. There is a cost optimization. Okay, I've taken a much more multi-decision inputs. Okay, if you see just likely score and impact score, how you can enlist various risks, assume data, what is the likely chances, what are the impact chances, and it will compare it to the risk factor, and then we will have risk level, that whether it is done medium or high. Interesting thing is your priority. Even if you see your medium is number 2, okay, or high can be your number 5, okay, but somewhere, because we need to start with very basic rather than advanced. Okay, so managing that priority is again a big domain. Now we are having some community based early system where we can manage a risk knowledge, monitoring and detection, communication and determinations, and response capability. Okay, we are having some drift worker. There is a case that I was in Fiji. Okay, it was a completely after earthquake. The people of that area, without any external support, converted that village to this. Okay, fantastic work by Fiji, appreciable. There is an example of Greece and Portuguese. Okay, we are having some
Jeremy, we
challenges.
almost getting to the end of. Oh, thank you very much.
Yeah, I know I can have a limited time. Yeah, of course.
Kamlesh, thank you very much. There's a lot of information loaded here. I'm sure our participants will engage you to get more of this knowledge from you, right? From the risk assessment to the implementation. There is a
Yeah,
lot. And we learned a lot that we should live from vision to results. That is, we really want to make sure that the results are happening on the ground and that we are living with risks. I think there is a good book written, We Are Living with Risks, but whenever they strike us, we should fall gracefully and make sure that we restart quickly because we need to really bounce forward, as they will say. So principles, I really like the slide on principles of locally led risk-informed resilience, and which has a 6 quadrant. To me, that was very, very touching. And I'm sure the audience will really have a lot to learn from here. And I'm sure all these slides will be shared so that even after the global summit, please engage with this expert in this field so that we can learn more and make a difference to those voiceless people, the most vulnerable people that we represent as civil society organizations. Please, this is a huge task on our soldiers, and we really need to execute that. And I think one emphasis we made here was a bottom-top approach to building resilience. And resilience is not an endpoint. It is evolving. It is something that we really need to make sure that we put our finger on the pulse and make sure that we don't leave it as the situation changes. And another thing is that locally, I think we cannot do anything without the local role players. If we don't involve them, like they always say, nothing for us without us. And I think that is very, very important for us when we are planning any project or any development resources. Yes, and most of these resources are locally available, like Kamlesh mentioned. Sometimes we can make use of these local resources to ensure that the community is quite resilient to the risks that they are facing. That said, I was looking at the Q&A column. I don't seem to be seeing any question there.
Can I request something?
Is it okay? Yes, there
Uh,
is a question coming. Yes,
yeah,
please.
I just want to request that if there is anyone who is doing research on this topic, okay, on risk resilience, okay, so I would really like to help it and support from my end, okay. So if there is, have you having any research team, so I will be like the part of team and will try to support the work, research work.
Thank you so much, Kamlesh. And I think the request has gone through. Anyone doing research on resilience, that is a very, very important area because at the end of it, we want to build resilient communities. So anyone doing resilience, I don't know, maybe in the resilience infrastructure, resilient community, please contact our presenter. And I want to, on behalf of all the listeners here and the participants, we want to wish you very, very well with your PhD. The next time we want to hear from you that you are Dr. Kamlesh, and
Yeah,
all the best.
sure. Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Any other question? I'm looking at the Q&A, please. Sita, can you see any question?
No, I
Not
don't see
seeing.
any questions.
Okay.
If anyone has any questions, you could type it in the session chat or the session Q&A. We
Yeah.
can maybe wait for a minute in case, or maybe 30 seconds in case anyone has any questions.
Okay. The silence will mean two things. One, that the presentations are very clear, and secondly, that you need to catch up with so many things in the presentation. But I'm sure the second part, you are going to have the presentations either at the website of GNDR or personally contacting the presenters. So we have not lost anything. I think we have learned a lot, and we would like to hear from you. There is a request for those doing resilience, and I don't think there is anyone who is working on any project that is not resilient related in a way. So please try to contact Kamlesh for this, and let's make sure that we build a resilient community. This is very, very
So
topical for us as GNDR. Yes,
there's
Exeter.
one question, I
Okay.
think, that says, great reflective presentations, and how do we sustain and scale up locally? So maybe Rajeev Ji, if you want to answer.
Okay, that is
Yeah,
from Loy Rigo, please.
yeah, yeah. Thank you very much, sir. The question is important and the answer is equally important, but I do not have that right answer to do that. But thing is, the locally led risk-informed decision making in the anticipatory actions and locally led resilience development is a vast subject itself. When we say a locally led risk-informed decision making, the question is that what do we mean by the local itself? Local at the national level, local at the regional level, or local at the village level. And second thing is that when we say risk-informed decision making, which kind of risk is happening at the national level or the sub-regional level and the village level. So if you go by the at the bottom of the level, at the village level, so the risk parameters are different. Maybe the flow of water or the food chain, or maybe the education, or maybe the soil erosion is maybe the risk. But you go to the middle range, there is urban risk is coming out. There is infrastructure. There is a seismic range. There is a issue of urban flood. a lot of things, and the heat will come, and you go up to the federal level. There is a policy change, and the risk at the policy level, and the funding and infrastructure. So the bringing those element into the of localization, localing, and taking the decision on that basis itself is a challenge. But what can is possible is we'll have to see the who are the what are the good practices or good things interventions that happen across the regions in similar culture and similar geography and similar development parametrics. So something is happening maybe in USA, somewhere in Texas, may not be applicable to somewhere in Bihar or maybe some South Africa. But something is happening maybe in India or maybe similar countries happening in maybe in South Africa or the Brazil, which is having different similar kind of economy per se, if not everything is together. So we'll have to find out those culturally and economically tuned examples and see to that where it is contextualized, where it can scaled up. So that itself is a very research based and labor intensive work. So I may not be able to give you the right answer of this question because I'm also puzzling for the right answer for these questions. But that can be a one real step, a good step in this direction. I'll pause myself.
Okay, let me add
So
something.
much.
Thank you,
Yes,
Rajeev sir.
Kamlesh.
Actually, when we say, I will answer both. Okay, when you say risk, okay, some risk you need to first understand risk. Sometimes it is just manageable, sometimes it is just preventable, and sometimes it is time posed. Currently, for example, we are having an risk of fuel shortage, okay, fuel and gas shortage. But you know it is in temporarily. It will after 6 months we will have a good amount of resilience work that was previously existing. But how to manage this? Suppose for in last 3 years back, our Indian government want to have an adaptation of solar, fully enveloped solar panels. So what did they then? They know that people will not accept solar panels as it is. So they provided subsidy. You are having 40% subsidy, and they compared it that your solar panel is just within 3 years it will manage your cost of the electricity. Okay, that was the plan. Now people of all over India are smart enough to understand that my solar panel will be last 15 years. I am having a problem solution, just whatever my investment is will be resolved in my backup period will be resolved in 3 years. Okay, so this small debt funding help the people to acquire. Now the currently, if you just figure it out, we are having 45% of entire India who have utilizations of solar panel. 45%, that is a very big number. Just rise in last decade. Okay, so understanding the people, understanding their basic need and your objective, your vision. Of course, your vision is more important. Now, coming to the second question, that how you can assess resilience. Firstly, to assess resilience, we need to understand what is your risk. Okay. You cannot because listen, risk is uncertain. You cannot define it whatever because you have to deal with people, you have to deal with economy, you have to deal with resources, okay, and you have to deal with policy. And if you see it on a mega scale, this each domain are too big, okay, because everyone want to have its own power. If you want to give up your power, then this problem is this. However, to assess the resilience, we are having much more parameters like resilience score, resilience assessment, risk matrix, FMEA, okay, well, everything, okay. So yes, we can assess the resilience. We can do a lot, like if you say AHF analysis, okay, fuzzy logic, okay, data fitting, everything. So everything can be managed. Define the problem, and we can start rank, prioritize, analyze, and then resolve. That is the basic step you can follow.
Thank, thank you for answering Adeso's question on how we measure resilience. Uh, and also the intricacy of how do we patch localization. I think, to the best of my knowledge, is not at which operational level we are doing it, but it is ensuring that the voice of the last person on the ground is fed into whatever operations we are handling. It can be at a village level, a county level, at provincial level, but ensuring that the voices of the people at the last mile is heard, is taken into account. They form sort of the pillars that drive whatever we are planning at whatever level. And with the case of resilience is not a static type of a situation, it evolves. But as just as is defined, it is ensuring that whenever we are hit by a particular hazard or a particular risk, it doesn't take us so much time to come back to at least the operational level for which we are known. If we are a fishing community, we should be able to recover from maybe a tornado or whatever and carry our fishing. And it should not take us so much time that our basic characteristics are brought back. But that again depends on a lot of evolution. It goes, it changes, and stuff like that. So what is resilient today may not be resilient tomorrow. I think Kamlesh made it very, very good coming from infrastructure. What you think that is quite resilient today can be hit by another level of risk. Let's say, for example, an earthquake at a higher magnitude. And that is why we need to plan and maybe double whatever the risks we have been facing, so that whatever hits us, at least there is that level of us recognizing ourselves or maintaining the characteristics that characterize that particular community. I think that will be the best way of looking at resilience because it changes.
Yes. Can
Ladies
I
and
add
gentlemen,
example?
come again.
I'm sorry. I think we will
Just one
wrap
minute.
up
I will
now.
take just
We are
1 minute, but
already
it is
15 minutes over the session.
Yeah, sister, thank you so much. I just want
Thank
to, we can engage ourselves outside this particular forum to learn from one another on issues of localization, issues of risk-informed development. And this is a pathway that is given, we have been struggling with DRR, but when you talk to your political role players about risk-informed development, coming from the development perspective, I think they will give you a listening ear and then maybe provide more resources than when you tell them about disaster risk reduction, which is actually you're sending a negative type of connotation to them. I think risk-informed development has DRR in it. That is the best paradigm shift that we can use now to attract a lot of resources, especially from our political role players. That will be my input there. And I just want to thank everyone for this particular session. The Global Summit is continuing. Please, let's engage. There are more sessions that we are going to learn. And at the end of the Global Summit, we want to be better people, better GNDR members, and also well-wishers, so that we can really make a difference wherever we are. I want to thank you so much. It's not the best. I am actually in Romania now. So you can see I'm sitting on a restaurant, and I had to moderate this. Thank you so much, Sita. Thank you so much, Rajeev, for presenting. Thank you so much, Kamlesh, and thank you most importantly to our audience. I think at this point we'll close it here. Thank you.
Thank you.
thank you
Thank you
very
very
much.
much.